Cart, we're going to do the randomizer again. We're going back to the Big Ten randomizer. Yesterday we did why does Iowa, what needs to happen for Iowa to make a Sweet 16? We have 13 more teams. We're going to do this for every team in the conference. Cart, click the button. Who are we doing today?
Nebraska.
Okay, we're really starting in the cornfields. What needs to happen in a crazy world where Nebraska emerges out of nowhere and makes a run to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament this year? How did it happen? I don't even know who to throw to because I'm confused by this hypothetical.
You could throw it to me, and I'll tell you exactly how it's going to happen. They're going to have to hone in on the fact that Kisei is the Japanese Steph Curry. That's the type of run that he has to have, and they just got to lean into their backcourt. We talked about when we had Riley on for a couple Fridays ago for Riley Fridays that they could actually have something with this team if they were able to retain some guys. If you were able to keep Kisei for this season, get a second season of Greasel, and then another season of Derek Walker, who I thought Derek Walker was one of the most underrated bigs in the Big Ten. I thought he was very productive and did a lot of things for that team. They just weren't that good. I don't know if there is any world, though. Is that fair to say for this exercise that Nebraska makes a Sweet 16? Like, I literally don't see a path. They just can't. They can't, right?
We're not allowed to say that in this exercise.
We're not?
This exercise is what happened. They made the Sweet 16.
Okay, here's what happened. Here's what happened. Kisei Tominaga is a first-team All Big Ten player. Okay, Jerron Coleman is a 40% three-point shooter, and Wilcher, the promise shooter, is the 40% three-point shooter. And we've been promised that for a couple of years, and people have been telling me that he could shoot, and he continues to not shoot well. So that comes true. And I think that's what it is. And then we finally see the, put it in quotation marks, coaching prowess of the mayor, Hoiberg. That's how they make a Sweet 16. That's why they're in the Sweet 16.
Tristan, your thoughts?
Yeah, so the most realistic way, I think, is that the Big Ten has another collectively great non-conference campaign, that everyone kills it once again, which is what they're prone to do. And they get 10 teams, they get 10 bids. And Nebraska is one of them as a 11th seed. And they get 2 wins because Kisei Tominaga and Bryce Williams, who is a great transfer from Charlotte, just goes off from deep. And they're one of those 11 seeds that wins a couple of games of Sweet 16. They can shoot the ball. I think Nebraska is going to be an outstanding shooting team. I think Rink Mass, the transfer from Bradley, is going to be really good in the front court. The concern is, and we talk, and you guys have talked all about Illinois not getting a point guard. I hate the fact that Nebraska couldn't get one. And they got Aaron Eulis, who wasn't very good at Iowa, and that was going to be a concern.
He ain't playing.
And yeah, now, and you could argue that maybe replacing him with Jaron Coleman is a slight upgrade, because at least Coleman averaged like 9 points a game at Missouri, so he can be a power conference contributor, just not an efficient one, and he's really more of a wing than a point to begin with. But it just sucks that they lost both Greasel and Walker, because Walker was effectively a point forward for them, and he was really, really good. I think he didn't get enough credit for his play. It maybe because the point guard position in the Big Ten next season isn't going to be elite, that it won't necessarily matter too much. But as you said, Cora, maybe if Wilcher can be sort of a breakout star for them, I'm not even sure where you would play him. Like, do you effectively play him as a 4, or just have an ultra small lineup since you have to play Kisei and Williams together? Maybe it could work. I think Nebraska will once again be a very entertaining team to watch. I think they're going to be fun to watch. But if they don't figure out how that point guard situation works so you can get the ball to those shooters, then I ultimately don't think it's going to matter. But it wouldn't be the biggest shock in the world if they somehow sneak into the tournament and just go on a hot shooting streak and somehow make the Sweet 16. It's not inconceivable, but I need to know how that PG plays.
I think if Penn State could do it last year, like we can stretch our brains enough to think Nebraska could maybe mimic something like that, because I like their backcourt a lot. Like I think Bryce Williams, Tominaga, and honestly Boogie Coleman, like as a trio, have a chance to be really good. I don't know if that's the three that like play 30 minutes a game together. I don't love any of them as like a point guard, but I think it could work like by committee. And maybe you could have a really, really poor man's version of what Michigan State's going to do, where they're just playing three guards at the same time. And none of them are the passer AJ Hoggard is, but can Tominaga shoot like Akins? Maybe. Actually, yes, definitely yes. Can Bryce Williams be an all-around guy? I think so. I don't know what Boogie is. He's kind of the swing piece for me, but they're going to miss Walker. Like if you just threw Walker back on this team, I would say they have all the surrounding pieces around a front court star, and they just have no answers in the front court right now. They're going to need the backcourt to overcome that, which could happen. I have three things. Like if I'm actually closing my eyes and saying, how did Nebraska get here? And they're in the Sweet 16 the second weekend of March. This is what happened. Number one, most important, Kisei Tominaga has a growth spurt. I think if Kisei is 6'7" by the end of December, that Nebraska has what they need. If he's still 6'2", I'm a little concerned. But a 6'7" Tominaga, I think, can do it all and dominate this league. Two, Boogie Coleman's got to get his Twitter likes under control. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about or not. I'm not encouraging anyone to go look at his Twitter likes. That's all I will say. I'm a little concerned. He's got to get them under control. And three, also critical, they have to be really, really, really good at home. Like really, really, really good at home. And Cart and I know this from experience. It's a tough place to play. They had the number one team in the country on the ropes last year. It went to overtime. It was an electric environment. I do think that this Nebraska team is good enough to win 75% of their games at home in Big Ten play. And if they do that, just steal a couple on the road, they could certainly qualify for the tournament the same way Tristan just talked about in a league that I think is going to get a lot of respect this year. Just get rid of the cake pops. If they protect home court and the cake pops are gone, if fans know that they're going to the arena to get a win every game and not just we're going to leave with a cake pop and a loss, then I like Nebraska basketball. Cart, have you found what I was alluding to yet?
No, I didn't. He might have deleted his likes or something.
Huh. Okay, good. Then number two is already taken care of. They're 33% of the way there. Somebody get a tape measurer out. Ask Tominaga to stand on the wall. Okay, final question around the horn. Percent likelihood this happens? We didn't do this with Iowa, but what's the percent likelihood that this actually happens? 1 to 100.
I'd say like 20%.
20% Nebraska makes a Sweet 16?
I think a lot. I think one of the reasons you said it should have been Hoiberg. I don't know why. Every coach who's in this category right now needs to look at what Shrews did last year and just zag. You do not have the zig. Just try to zag and see what happens. You've been zagging and been finished at the bottom of the big. You've been zigging and finishing at the bottom of the Big Ten continuously. Just give the zag a go and see where else you go. Like just try that out. And I don't know if like we talked to it yesterday. Could McCaffrey do that? Probably not. He seems like a coach that's stuck in his ways. Can Hoiberg do that? I don't know. But you do have to try something different when you have a team like this and the personnel like this. So give me 20%.
What if everybody zags, though? Then do you need to go back to zigging?
Then you just you mail it in.
If everybody zags, then there's nothing you can do. But if everyone's still zigging, then you zag?
Yeah.
Okay. And last year, I think we did see Hoiberg zag because he was throwing those like constant double teams out. Like he was just swarm double teaming all over the court. So who knows? Maybe he's willing to adapt. Tristan, what's the percent chance? 20% seems crazy.
Probably is.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 15% because because they're the kind of team that if they get to the tournament, everyone's gonna pick them to make a run because shooting teams are always going to be are the ones that you pick for upsets. I think Nebraska could be one of the best pure shooting teams in the country, and if they can just somehow get to the tournament as that 11 seed, compared to the others, they will probably be the one that I would think could beat someone because they'll probably go up against a team that's insanely athletic but can't shoot. And the right night, they absolutely can be a team that makes a run. And then Fred Hoiberg is a good coach. Like the past few years hasn't been great, but I'm not going to give up on him completely. And they got the veterans. It's going to be a senior laden roster. They have the recipe to be the one that could actually do make some noise. And I'm not as high as them as say Riley is, but I don't hate them to be a tournament team.
They were 9-11 last season under Fred Hoiberg. That's his best record in Big Ten play. They have not had a winning record in the Big Ten since 2017, when Tim Miles finished fourth, went 13-5, and I believe that team missed the NCAA tournament still that year. I think you guys are crazy. I think this is like a 2% chance if we're being generous. Sorry, Nebraska, but like 1-5, 1-5. This team makes a Sweet 16. Like Illinois can't even make a Sweet 16 right now. We're acting like the Cornhuskers have a chance.
Illinois can't shoot. That's why we're picking Nebraska to potentially.
Nebraska would be better off with you two in the front court and the three guards we just talked about.
Well, you did talk about them needing a 6'7" Kisei Tominaga while you're podcasting with one.
That's true. All right. Good luck, Nebraska. I hope we make it back to Lincoln. Lincoln was a fun trip last year. See if that can happen. One big thing.